Hi, I'm Dr. Andrea Stover, licensed marriage and family therapist, and you're listening to the Modern Day Romantic Podcast. Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's episode. Today, we're going to be diving into one of the key pieces, the core components of what it means to be a romantic, and I think the key ingredient of, hopefully, all romantic relationships. I say hopefully, and you'll see why here in a moment. What I'm talking about is love. This word I have found is so difficult to define, so difficult to put into words, partially because I've found it means different things to different people. And that's why I think it's really important to sit down, unpack this a bit, see what maybe we can come up with. So when I look up, the definition of love, here's what I find. It is an intense feeling of deep affection or a great interest and pleasure in something. As a verb, it's to feel deep affection for someone. So you'll notice here that there's a lot of feeling. It's as if when you are experiencing love, that you know that you're experiencing it. And I want to pause right there and just say that definition, quite frankly, is too simplistic. And it is what is causing a lot of confusion and I think a lot of uncertainty and lack of clarity in knowing what to do in relationships, where to go, how to be, et cetera, et cetera. So here's a definition I'm going to float, which is love being the animating force behind all creation. You can sit with that, ponder it, take it in, do with it what you want. But to me, I call it the animating force because this is an all-encapsulating way of being able to talk about it. It might be that which drives you. It may be that which motivates you. It might be that which stops you from doing one thing and doing something else instead. Okay, so for this kind of generic definition that I floated, I want to now talk about part of what I have spent many years working on defining, organizing, coming up with some type of a loose model for how I have conceptualized people to experience love. In other words, I've come up with 7 different, not just definitions, because again, those are words. I'm going to talk about love from 7 different experiences. Okay. So the first experience, and by the way, I'm going to do this in a developmental sequence. And what I mean by that is I think that love changes through time, our feeling of it, our experience of it, oftentimes, if we're continuing to grow. So we're going to start out at base bottom in its highest expression at that level and move our way up. All right, so level 1 love, let's call it level 1 love. This is all about the experience of security, feeling safe. I think this experience of love is instinctual, can be instinctual. We are seeking to feel connected, not in a psychological way, not in an emotional, mental way, more physiologically. Hey, I'm looking for a safe base. I'm looking for a partner. I'm looking for someone to help me feel safe in the world. I'm looking for a co-regulator of my nervous system. So love from this, we can think about an infant with its mother, that the infant, a newborn is not making this intense eye contact and being able to say, oh, mom, I love you so much. Oh, thank you so much for feeding me. Thank you so much. No, it's more kind of instinctual in that way. They're seeking to stay alive. So love can be survival, the experience of looking for love from this level or from this perspective. Survival based, we either have it or we don't. If we have this allows us to advance to something beyond. If we don't have this, we're going to perpetually be in a state of seeking, longing, looking out for where we can find this sense of security. And I think a lot of times in relationships, when we're looking for love from this place, we're looking for someone to make the world safe for us. We're looking for someone to tell us we're okay just because we are who we are. So this is a bit, just briefly, we're going to touch on these today, and then I'll do much more detailed explanations of each of these throughout the podcast. Level 2, this type of love is more based on that initial definition that I read from the World Wide Web. So there's a real feeling associated with this. It is oftentimes what I think of as a first love or an infatuation, a feeling of being high, a feeling of being brought to life beyond that sense of safety at the level 1. This level 2 type of love is all about feeling that dopamine rush, being really in that romantic fantasy of all of those, the beginning of a relationship and how, oh gosh, how great that can feel. The issue is if we stay here as this being our primary definition or experience that we're looking for in love, we're likely not going to be able to grow either, ourselves or within that relationship, because things can't stay in that beginning stage forever. But this is a lot of another way that we could, maybe in a shadow expression of this level 2 love, it might be a pretty dramatic relationship as far as, are we going to make it or are we not going to make it? And oh my gosh, oh, I want to be with you, but I just can't be with you right now. Or there's just a lot of feeling, and it can turn into an emotional roller coaster. Again, there's that intensity, that feeling. So this is some of how I would describe the experience of a level 2 love. When we go to level 3, love is more defined as a commitment. This is maybe, hey, whether you get married, so hey, we said these vows like, I love you and I'm staying with you because I promised you that I would. I committed to you. I committed to our relationship. So love from this place is beyond maybe the initial, hey, okay, I feel safe. I feel secure with this person, hopefully. Level 1. Level 2, we've had the falling in love stage. And now level 3, let's take this thing and let's commit to this and see where that takes us. So sometimes the shadow side, I think, of a level 3, as I'm describing it, with this committed piece of love is commitment, love is loyalty, love is, sometimes living in that we're going to build this life together, and this life that is ours that also fits in with society's expectations or definitions of what we're supposed to be doing with our life as a married couple or a people in a committed relationship of some sort. So this might mean we're advancing the relationship by committing, and, we're going to have children or create a family together, or you don't have to have children together to be in this level 3, but it's more about these principles, less about the feelings. And there is a sense of maturity in this, because the ability to commit does require letting go of that fantastical feeling and experience of love in level 2. Okay, so level 3, we've got this commitment piece. Level 4, we're moving into connection. This is really about coming into love for oneself. Hey, I am an individual and you're an individual. So love for self and love for the other. This is a really important stage and experience in love. And I'm just going to be frank with you. I don't believe that a lot of couples have this. Maybe they do. Maybe they're getting to that place. But this is where we kind of break down. There is no model currently that I'm aware of in our society for what I'm about to talk about, for level 4 and beyond type of love and the love experience. So this is, I think, where a lot of people are at right now, is on the brink of, okay, we did the whole, we feel safe, secure with one another. We have that experience. We had the falling for one another. We've committed. We're living this life that we've started creating and building together. And now what? Now what? What do we do next? And oftentimes, I think there can be a feeling of wanting to regress back to level 2. Oh, something's missing because I just don't feel the way I used to feel about you. I believe partly that happens because we don't know what comes after all of that commitment and starting to build your life as a couple together. So this level 4 is really about withdrawing some of those projections and maybe maybe peeling back the layers of who you are and who the other person actually is. And I know it sounds silly to think you could be married to someone for 10 years, for 15, 20 years, and just be getting to that phase. But I think that's, again, because we haven't had a model for what this looks like. So level 4 love, the experience of this might look like someone starting to go to therapy and learning about themselves and wanting to bring their partner along on that journey, or maybe together as a couple, you start going to therapy. It doesn't have to be therapy, but there's some type of interest and desire to learn more about yourself, to learn more about why you do what you do, who you are really. And you've been a good, productive member of society up to this point. Check, 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 check. And now it's time to do a deeper dive internally, as well as being able to connect with your partner for the individual that they are as well. Okay, so level 5 love, we kind of advance this. As I said, I think there's not as many people at this kind of level 4 experience of love. Even though we're hungry for it, we don't know that's what it is that we're hungry for, and we don't know how to do that yet. So as I go, these stages are going to get more and more theoretical and they're conceptual, but maybe the experience of them is going to be hard to draw from internally, as well as, do I know anyone that has a relationship like that? So level 5 is about purposeful intent. This is really about utilizing love, the relationship, to generate something to benefit those beyond the two in the relationship. This can take all sorts of forms. It doesn't mean you have to dedicate your life to being a humanitarian or work at a nonprofit or something like that. It means, though, that you're coming into your own identity as a member of not just society, but humanity. And in that, you're really hoping to be able to feel connected. Like love is beyond you, it's beyond the person that you're in a relationship with. It's about community. It's about feeling connected to the whole of humanity. And maybe that's really idealistic to say. So this might be a really silly example, but this is what I'm going to offer. I think of, and I'm projecting this onto this couple, But I think of Chip and Joanna Gaines from the Fixer Upper shows. I don't know. I think maybe they have a different show. It's called something else now. But together, their relationship with each of them being who they are. He's really good at the building. She's really good at the decorating and details in that way, bringing a space alive in the aesthetic. Together, combined, they are able to serve. They are able to offer a service to others and enrich others' lives as a result of that. And if Chip were to do that solo, or if Joanna were to do that independently, it wouldn't be the same as the two of them and their love and the power of their relationship, that experience of their love, to generate something and leave a legacy in that way, to touch and make impact in other people's lives. Hopefully that example starts to give some type of form to a level 5 experience. Level 6 love, the experience of a level 6 relationship. What is it that you'd be growing into beyond this level 5 purposeful intent, finding meaning in that way through the catalyst of being in love and relationship with your partner? Level 6 is about self-reflection. And I don't mean, okay, there's this way of writing when you talk about the self where you could be talking about lowercase s self versus capital S self. What that means is the self, like the transpersonal self of a person. So self-reflection, in the way I'm describing it, doesn't mean getting out your journal and just kind of writing some things. It means the capacity to be in deep introspection and reflection on your life as a whole, and being able to see how the various encounters, obstacles, dealings that you've had throughout your life have been in service to growing you, to stretching you beyond what you thought was your limitation or your capacity, to really work on you and develop you. And when you can have gratitude for all that you have gone through in this life, in your human life, that level of love is what we're talking about in this level 6 experience of growing into the capacity to be able to feel that is love. And that is getting really to that initial definition that I threw out, which is love being this animating force behind all creation. That there's a sense of, and I don't mean to overly simplify, I don't mean to paint a rosy picture here, because we all know that life is suffering. There's a lot of pain associated with living a human life. So to reach this, to be able to have gratitude for all that you have experienced in your life. And I don't mean that you're happy these things happened. What I mean, though, is that there is a sense of being able to find meaning through what you've gone through. And in this way, it's beyond level 5 love, in that, hey, I'm going to use, who I am and the relationship I'm in, this experience that we have together, to leave a legacy behind. This is more, I'm connected to the cosmos in some type of way, like in throughout the whole arc of humanity's story. So you can feel how elevated we're getting here as we're going through these levels of love and the experience of what love could be and what I believe it's wanting to grow into and become through us, through our lived experience. Finally, we're at level 7. Level 7 is not a state that I believe we can sustain, but love, the experience of love at this state, is transcendence. It's unity consciousness. It's union. all is one. I feel connected to the all that is. I think we have, if we're lucky, I think we get a few moments like this in our life. So this by no means is something to make as the benchmark for what you're going for. If you can master, if anyone out there can master like a level 6 state of consciousness of love as living in gratitude and finding meaning, and I don't mean that cheaply. Like, you can't get to that place through bypassing and thinking that you're at that place and pretending as if you're at that place. I mean putting in the work. I mean suffering through to get to that place. So level 7 is what Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I think about level 7 as a peak experience, something that is just the ultimate feeling of oneness. All is right, all is well. And I bet everyone listening has had at least one experience like that. I hope you have in your life. That could have happened by taking a walk on the beach and taking a few deep breaths and just hearing the waves, feeling the sunshine, the warmth. all is well. I am at peace. I am at one. I am one right now, at one with myself, at one with life, at one with love. I am love. So these experiences are not necessarily linear. Even though I said they're developmental, I do believe that we can drop into different states at different times. But ultimately, our task is to find what our own definition of love is at present, what needs to be worked through there to make sure that we're living that as best we can. And then, more than likely, there's going to be a little stirring inside that says, okay, now what? And this is what I'm laying out today, is a trajectory, a path, a framework of what love is, what love can be, and what love, I don't want to say what love is not, because I can't say what love is to different people. What I am drawing from today is a lot of what I did my dissertation on, is this question around, okay, what is the potential in a romantic relationship? What's the purpose of a romantic relationship or a marriage? And I really think it's about growth, but I don't think that means just individual personal growth. I think it means growing into, again, I'm saying this a lot in this episode, but being a member of not just society, but feeling connected to the all of humanity. Because the fact is, love and our lives are a mystery. This is shrouded in mystery. So that's another piece why I think we get lost. So the idea that I'm laying down today is to provide a loose framework to be able to now more deeply explore through future episodes. What I'd really like you to focus on is what your own definition of love is. And it can be something totally different from what I suggested or offered today. If you want to put it into words, I think that's one thing. But I would encourage you, the definition to be based on experience. How do you know if you are in love, if you're being loving, if you are loved? What does that look like to you? What does that mean to you? And again, can you allow for that to change, that definition to change through time? Maybe you need a certain type of love, a certain way of being loved, because you didn't get enough of that when you were growing up. So you find someone, you partner up, you get that, and then it falls flat. And you say, oh, okay, well, I don't know that this is, I must not be with the right person then. I don't know that this marriage is going to work. I just don't feel it anymore. And again, what I'm saying is that I think what might be available to you, if you can really sit with this, is There's a beyond what you thought that you wanted. You needed that. And now there might be an opportunity to grow it beyond what you've had. That doesn't always mean that you can do that with the person you're with, but I do think that it can happen more frequently than what people realize. The real complexity in that is finding someone who is willing to grow with you, who sees the benefit of that, because the growth piece of love, of relationships, is not easy. It's not for the faint of heart. And that's why I offer this to the romantics out there. I think there's something in this that all romantics intrinsically know. It's innate to them. Hey, let's do this thing. I think romantics try to start at level 7 and stay in level 7, which is that transcendence, oneness, isn't this juicy and amazing? Maybe a little bit of that level 2, also the buzz and the rush and whatnot. But really working on what it means to be a romantic to you, you're going to have to look at, what does love mean to you? How do you know that you're experiencing it? How do you define that? And maybe start to work with that a bit and see where that takes you. There will be many more episodes to come about what I spoke about today. I just wanted to lay the foundation for this to kind of get your minds and your hearts stirring a bit and see what you come up with. I'd love if you could post what you do come up with. How do you define love? What do you make of love? What's your experience of love? Not just how you like to receive it or what you do for others. Try to go beyond that. You can start there, that's fine, but really find yourself in that experience. What is it that you're looking for? What do you gain from the experience of love? What are you willing to give or offer to the self of another that you are saying you love or want to have a loving relationship with? All right. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for tuning in to today's episode. If you're interested in learning about ways to work with me, head over to my website, themoderndayromantic.com. From there, you'll be able to contact me and learn a bit more about the customized intensives and retreats I offer both individuals and couples. You'll also be able to support future podcast production via Patreon. There are several membership levels to choose from, including the Beating Hearts Club, which gives you access to exclusive content every month. Thanks so much for your support, and I'll see you next episode.